back.
So it's it's still a win, I think.
That's why he's big mad.
But from some of the research that I did, even though it's very sparse on this one, the director had said that there's he did another movie after this called Arch Enemy. I'm not sure if either of you have seen it. It's an AMC Plus, I think, exclusive. So if you guys have that app, or if you want to do the free trial, you can check it out. But it's streaming there now, and it is another kind of cosmic but like action film plays with like animation and live action, and it really has nothing to do per se with Daniel or that universe, but the director had said that that's part of this kind of vortex, what he's calling a vortex trilogy, and that a third movie is being planned right now where a main character who goes by the name of Max, I think, in Arch Enemy, will essentially, or at least supposedly the plan is for Daniel to kind of face off with him in a third film.
What?
That's cool.
Yeah, so you guys should check out Arch Enemy. It's very good. It's like a little kind of indie action hybrid film, kind of like a gangster action film. Like basically this guy in another dimension is basically saves his world and ends up falling through a black hole and ending up on Earth, supposedly. And then he ends up becoming like this like homeless man who nobody really believes, and everybody thinks he's just crazy, but you know.
Oh yes, okay, I remember this now.
Yes.
I haven't seen it, but I was super excited when I saw Joe Manganiello was attached to it.
Yeah, he is so good in that movie, dude. You guys both got to check it out. But yeah.
So this is like the Unbreakable and Split.
Yeah, kind of
like version.
And what's it called again?
Arch Enemy.
Arch Enemy. Okay.
But yeah, so look out for a possible third movie coming sometime soon.
Was this an original concept, or did you say it was borrowed from a book?
So, okay, the interesting thing about this is that it's based in part on a novel, but I think the novel is only 240-something pages, so it's pretty short, and they spend a lot of the time in the book with them as kids first, right? So they
okay.
But this guy Adam, the director Adam, worked with that the guy who did the novel, and they co-wrote this script together. So it's actually, you know what I mean, even though it was rewritten for the screen, it's very authentic to the concept of what the book was trying to do still.
Okay.
Did you guys, who was your favorite character?
Cassie.
Okay.
For me, I don't know. I just like the Daniel. I don't know. I thought his he had cool swagger. I was just like, that's why he was probably just a favorite for me. All the different outfits were cool. I
like Cassie because, I resonate with that character a lot because I too am like kind of an artist, kind of out there, weird.
When she hits him with her skateboard, or he's not looking or something.
Dude, that was sick as hell.
Yeah.
She's like, what the fuck, dude? He's like, oh, didn't see you, sorry.
Don't take no shit.
And then she's all sarcastic with him, where she's like brushing herself off, like, yeah, dude, I'm fine. Have a great rest of your day. Luke, because he goes through so many different stages, and he did a great job. Miles, just in a general sense, with this being one of his first major kind of like leading roles, he killed it. Everybody killed it
for sure. Yeah,
because having a lower budget the way that this did, limited theatrical release, you really
believed that this kid coming from an upbringing of like a mentally ill mother, that is what he personified in the role.
Yeah, especially not to be a downer, but I feel like, you know, Ashlee and I and our family, we've had multiple kind of weird trauma things happen throughout our life, you know, and of course I'm older, so I went through a lot more than she even knows about. So on a weird level, I can empathize with Luke and his position, and you know, certain things that he goes through in certain ways are very relatable, and I feel like that's what they got right with this, is just making things feel accessible, and although it's kind of like a surreal story, it's still grounded in normality, and it's very much a piece about mental illness, and you know, and even the age, I think he's supposed to be like 18, 19 when we see him older in college, and at that age, it's so, you know, it's so hard for people to realize when you're asking or, you know, crying out for help, because you're just like, oh, you know, as a spectator of someone, you're like, oh, he's just being stupid, or he's just you know, an idiot or dumbass, and there could be really psychological things lingering underneath the surface that nobody really recognizes because of that kind of sensitive age, you know what I mean, where they're like, oh, they're just immature, or they don't know what's going on yet. So that's another thing that it's just like, wow, there's so many, they're firing on so many different cylinders, and there's so many different ways to interpret everything that's going on in this, you know what I mean?
I'd agree.
So yeah.
No, absolutely.
Be nice to everyone, because you don't know what they're going through.
Yeah, for sure.
What else, guys? Do you have any closing thoughts at all for Daniel Isn't Real, or are we getting towards the end?
I definitely recommend it to anyone who hasn't seen it.
Yeah.
It's definitely like a body horror. It's not so much like a scary movie. Like, it is scary in like the concept, but it's more like it makes you think, you know?
So,
like it's definitely like a more like body horror and it's kind of like a
psychological
thriller.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely recommend this too. I don't know if someone's listening to this and they haven't seen it, I highly recommend them watching it. But yeah, definitely. If I was to rate this out of 10, I'd probably give it a 9. I really enjoyed this one. I'm probably gonna, even though it is available on Tubi, I'd probably end up buying an actual copy of it.
Nice. That means a lot, man. I'm always glad when I can show you something that you can respect enough to want to add it to your collection. And sadly, I feel like a lot of people haven't seen this yet. Of course, it's more kind of underground. Not even Ashlee had heard of it, so I'm glad to kind of shed some light, and hopefully we'll shed some more light with our listeners out there. And it's worth noting, even if you've listened to this podcast and you haven't seen the movie yet, please go watch this, because it's very much the story that they're trying to tell is visual, with the colors and the cinematography and everything. It's something that demands a watch. We can't really do a movie like this justice talking about it and have that be it. I really recommend either going to watch it for the first time or go check it out again, because it's really heavy. And I think the longevity of this, it will be relevant, you know, years and years down the line, and hopefully turn into a modern classic. Okay, so with that being said, man, James, next week, have you thought about a possible movie that we could cover?
Have we done, I know we talked about it a lot, but have we done Atomic Blonde?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, I'd like to tackle that one if we haven't done it. I know we talk about it and reference it a lot. That's why I feel like it almost feels like we have done it, but I was leaning towards we haven't. I feel like we haven't, but like I said, I think we just talk about it a lot and mention it. But I'd like to go over that one.
All right.
Yeah, Atomic Blonde is such a good movie. I'm surprised you guys haven't talked about it yet.
Yeah, I know. I feel like we always talk about it or mention it for some reason or another. But I don't think we've attempted it yet.
I think some movies are so good and we love them so much that we don't do a full episode for a while. But yeah, I'm more than happy to talk about Atomic Blonde with you, my man. And, it's got Charlize Theron, a.k.a. my wife. So, there's, I guess Multiverse of Madness has been out for a while, but there's, she's kind of interconnected with that now. So it'll be interesting to kind of fuse that with hopefully with our podcast next week. What about you, Ashlee? You have anything you want to say before we get out of here?
I definitely have been listening to my brother's podcast for a few years now, on and off. And you have asked me to be on it before, but I'm a big ball of anxiety, and I'm less scared now. So I would love to come on to discuss more stuff with you in the future. I think that'd be really fun.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Like I said at the top of the show, we definitely appreciate you making the time to come on, and I think this was a pretty epic opening for you. We've been doing the show, as I've said, off air and on air for about 5 years now, which is so weird to think about.
Bonkers.
And just finally glad to sit.
So proud of you.
Finally glad to sit down. Even if it is digitally, because you're not in town at the moment. It was so much fun to kind of discuss a movie and just pop culture in general, and have you be a part of a live kind of show, and you kind of hear and see how everything works on the inter circle, I guess you would say.
But next time I'm on, I definitely will be more prepared, more well versed in how things are.
Yeah, definitely. Once you get over that hump of doing the anxiety of a first show, then it's kind of like, okay, now I'm familiar. Now we can get down to how things really are, and hopefully you'll open up a little bit more, and we can't wait to have you on again. All right, so next week is Atomic Blonde, and with that, I'm going to ask James a quick question. Hopefully you got an answer.
What's up, man?
So where can our lovely listeners, if they are stumbling upon this podcast out of context, where can they find us, and tell them what we're about, man?
Yeah, so we are Drop the Mic. We are a San Diego-based podcast. We are pretty much available on every single platform that plays podcasts, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Spotify, basically anything that plays a podcast, we're on there. Just search for us. And if you enjoyed the show, give us a 5 stars, a thumbs up, a positive review, whatever you can, if you have the time. And follow us on Instagram. We have that as well. Me and Wes are both attached to that. Is at @dropthemic_podcast. We put up our weekly focus, sometimes our recs. You can comment on that and let us know if you enjoyed the movie that we did, if you hated it, whatever the case may be. Just let us know. We'd like to have a conversation with our people who listen to us. And if you don't want to be so public and comment on a post, you can always DM us and request a movie that way. Or if we haven't done one that you want to see or want to listen to, feel free to ask us there. I think that's about it.
And also follow us on Twitter at DropTheMicPod. Newly on Twitter. thank you to all our listeners out there. We really appreciate it. And thank you, James, for making time in your